Welcome to the doghouse. This is going to be about evil and cowards. A lot of this has to do with the same people or persons. Evil and coward exist wherever you go in life. You're not going to avoid it. It's just not something that will happen. Evil and coward will be here forever. It's what you do that's important. Evil and cowards exist now and in the future. But the question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to hold your head and walk away? Are you going to stand up to the evils? Because a lot of times, evil people are cowards. They really are. They are willing to sacrifice themselves of their hate to bring others down. But when they are stand up to, a lot of times they will back down. They will hate you and despise you the rest of their lives. But at least you're out doing what needs to be done. Evil and coward will always exist. Evil and coward is your next door neighbor or somebody close by. This is not about one person or anything else. This is how we act to evil and how we act to cowards. We will have a great big thing on our back when we cower down. And that's the thing. When you cower down, evil does exist. When you cower down, you were given in to the evil and you're showing the other guy how much he can push on you. And it really does. When you don't stand up to evil, you become the victim. And you're becoming the victim because you don't want controversy. And I understand that. I'm very much hate controversy around me. I've walked away from it many times. Don't make it right. Now I've never really been bullied. I've had people dislike what I say or do. That's one thing. But the actually being a bully has never happened. And evil will always exist because a bully and evil are almost the same exact thing. Because we will always sacrifice the good for evil when it comes to it's the easier path. What I mean by that, you can be the biggest bully in the world, and you do that because it was an easier path to take than being right. When you do right, sometimes it's harder than if you go and do evil. Evil is so easy to do and so easy to follow. The problem is, once you start doing evil, you have a really hard time getting out of that because once you decide you can do a whole lot of things when you're evil, you will keep doing evil because it's a shortcut. If you really think about it, that's the way it is. And if you stand up to evil, you'll find out that evil person is nothing but a coward 98% of the time. He may be a vengeful or her a vengeful person to you, but that's okay. When you stand up to them, they can say and throw all kinds of fits because you are doing right and you're showing you're doing right. Evil has a following like no other following. And it really does. Evil can have a whole bunch of followers, and I'd say well over half of them actually believe that evil person is in the right. The others know he's not in the right, but they hate themselves so much they will follow. Sometimes evil is really appealing to people. And here's a you go out and say, you want to earn $1,000. This guy's willing to make you work for it to get that $1,000. The other guy is willing to give up things and have shortcuts for you to get that $1,000. That $1,000 is so you join him or her and be evil. So there is a big difference. And so, that $1,000 from somebody taking shortcuts, hey, that's a lot easier. If it means I have to be evil, well, okay, I'll be evil. I don't have to work for it. That's not the attitude we should have, but that's the attitude that actually exists in our society today. When we can decide we can take a shortcut and who cares who's in our way. And even on here, I've seen people on here that have given up morals and ethics for money and follow somebody that is not moral at all. Another thing that happens, and not only on here, everywhere you go, is, and I am a Christian, by the way. I consider myself a Christian anyway. No, I don't go to any particular church, and I don't care if somebody believes in God or not. It's just I do. If you don't, 100% behind you. But a lot of people go out there and they use Christianity or other religions, even if they're not Christian, considered Christians. They will use their Christianity to get what they want in life. They will lie, steal, and they will tell you they're doing what they're doing. Thanks. Not much, John, but they are doing evil to get others to join, and they really are. You know, Jim Jones is an example. The guy that had Hell Bobbit started Hell Bobbit. All these people come out across as really smooth talkers. And you know what? In the end, though, they weren't really, well, they were smooth talkers. Their actions were different. They used Christianity to get what they wanted. And what was the end result? Neither one of them two were Christians at all. They faked like they were Christians. And some of us on here know a few others that do that. Just because you go to church does not make you a Christian. Another example of that is, and this is personal experience. I had a boss one time, he was an assistant manager. He was the best guy you ever want to meet when it comes to going to church and what he was doing. His problem was he only lived it one day a week. Or if he had meetings or something, then he'd live it there the other days. But he used Christianity to get what he wanted, not what Christianity is really made for. And I don't care where you live, this will happen. People will use Christianity for their own good, and to me, that is evil. When you do that, it's 100% evil. And that's where the evil I'm talking about comes in. Because if you're not using Christianity or whatever religious belief you are for the purpose of a religious belief, if you are using it for personal gain, you are in the wrong and you know it. You cannot go out and destroy people's property and say you're a Christian. See, a lot of people that say they are Christians, and like I said, I consider myself one, not a good one, but I am one. But people that consider themselves Christians, a lot of them are only that by words and not actions. And it's a shame we fall in that category. And some of us may start to go that way, but we can recognize it and go out. I've seen some people that were bad alcoholics turn their life around, and they're some of the best Christians you'll ever run across. And their faith is that it's their faith. They're not going out lying about it, they're living it. That is a true Christian. A person that can go out there, recognize their problems, solve them, because we all have problems. Anybody that gets on here and says they don't have a problem on something is lying. And I know people on here that actually annoy me because they get on here and think they're holier than now, and they're the ones with the problem. Remember, anybody can speak words out of their mouths. Very few people will follow them up by actions. And it's evil. It really is evil when you do that. Another thing I've seen out there about being evil, it's never the person's fault that is evil and a bully. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. When they're called out, and they're cowards, they really are cowards. And when they are called out, they will cower down, but they will still hate you the rest of your life because they're not true Christians. They're not of their own faith. They're of their own faith. And they have decided money will run them. So they have said money is their God. There's no such a thing as God but money. And there's examples of cowards and evil. A person I know on here, I don't know him personally, has got others to follow him. I keep moving around. I can't stand still for 5 minutes. But they get people to follow them, and then they get afraid to offend a person because they might lose clicks, views, and money. Once again, that's an evil person following an evil person, which makes him a coward. These people cannot stand up for themselves. They are cowards. When you are a coward, you are also evil. It ain't always that way, but a good part of the time it is that way. Evil will exist from now until the second coming, but it's up to you whether you want to be evil or good. That's the bottom line. You can't even, I mean, there's no in between. There really isn't. And I'm not on here preaching God at all, by the way, but this is just how things are. Thank you. I, a lot of people agree too, and some don't. Like I get on here, and it's funny. I'll start even on my shorts. I'll criticize a bully, and I'll be dang. There'll be somebody eventually come on. It may have been out there for a month, and they get offended because I said something bad about a bully, and the bully is evil. So I'm talking when I say evil, I'm also talking about a bully. They get offended by showing evil. And people do. You can go out there and find anybody and point out evil, and you will get people mad at you because you just said that this person was evil. They may believe he's evil, but they will still defend that person because it's their friend. That means they're as evil as the other person. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And I've seen it around here. I have a couple of people I'm related to, and I don't, I like them, I love them, and I don't mind being around them. But they're that type of person that would do that and have done that, by the way. So, and I think you look in your families, you'll find that. I mean, it don't have to be really, really bad, but it's there on some people. But how many? Like I said, I was really never bullied in school. I wasn't Mr. Popular by any means, but I wasn't bullied. I come from a really, really small area. There's a little over 50 people, I think 55 in my graduating class. But through junior high and high school, when I do something, here's what generally was the comments they'd make. Oh, it's just Darwin, or oh, it's just Yogi. Don't worry about it. So they were blowing me off, really. But I never, but I seen people being bullied. And even back then, I hated it. I hated people mentally being abused like they were. That is evil. It was is 100% evil to do that to people. And evil comes with a consequence when you go down that side on this earth and after. When you decide to go down the road of evil, you better think about the consequences, even though it's a shortcut to a whole lot of things on this earth. And it really is. Evil is a shortcut. Unfortunately, it happens, like I said earlier, to somebody around us, it will happen. I see evil all over, and the evil was made to take a shortcut. Then, when they get into the evil, they don't know how to react. That's the problem. They don't know how to, I shouldn't say react, how to get out of it. So they have to double down on being evil and a coward, and both go together. But they cannot turn back, so they have to make it twice as bad. Even though they're in the wrong, they have to make it twice as bad because evil has no conscience at all. Evil will take you down so fast and you won't even know it. You'll become evil and think you're in the right. I know people that have done that, gone down that road and think they're in the right. And another example of evil, and the guy isn't this way anymore. I went with a guy, or went with him, right. I worked with this guy, and he was bragging about his knife he got. He showed me he was really proud. That night, he went out and killed somebody with a knife because they was both drunk and arguing. He spent quite a few years in there, but he realized what he did was evil and has changed to this day. He won't even pick up a knife or anything else because he knew what he was wrong, did was wrong and evil. Most people can't comprehend going back to what is right. Yeah, all of us has had bad times. Granted, I've never been in prison or jail. Never. Well, I take that back. I used to go inspect fire extinguishers in a couple of the county jails around here. I never was in there permanently just to go do the extinguishers and our restaurant hood system, their cooking hood systems. It was always kind of eerie to me when I do that. It would have to be done every 6 months on the hood systems, once a year on the fire extinguishers. It was always an eerie feeling going in there and doing that. It was interesting but eerie. Well, I think to a point we do things that we could have got arrested for, but most of us figure out that it's not the right way to go and is willing to change. And believe me, I've been down the path. I did stupid things in my life that I should never done. I'm not saying necessarily ethics more than anything. See, evil don't even have ethics. And that's a bad thing that goes on too, is the fact that when you're evil, you really don't have ethics. Sometimes when you're evil, you catch on and decide you're going to have ethics, and all the more power to them people. And there's things that evil will do, like, in Florida, whoever removed that monument. And some of you know who I'm talking about. That family could be the greatest family, if I lived there to me, or they could hate me, I would not care. That should have never taken place. That should have been left alone. That you're right, John. When I grew up, there was no such thing as cell phone. I remember Get Smart talking on his shoe phone, and I laughed about it. Or some shows that you have a phone and no cord on it, and there was no comprehension. You just laugh. Cell phones has been good and bad because you get to record things, which is holding people accountable. That is good. What is bad about it, you can edit it to the way you want it to look, not the way it is. That's the downside to it. Yeah, cell phones made a big difference, and it's helped a lot and has hindered a lot. Believe me, I grew up, like I said, I grew out in the middle of nowhere. Junior high and high school was about 50 miles one way bus ride. So anybody thinks I lived in town, I'm far from that. But I can imagine having a great big old cord to go that far to use the phone. You know what I'd like to do? And I don't know, maybe somebody has done it just out of curiosity. Go to the school, have 8 or 10 rotary phones, and have it in a class and say, give them a number and tell them dial that number to see how many people still can comprehend how to do that. Yeah, Storm Killer was out, literally out in the middle of nowhere. I probably lived a mile and a half, 2 miles from the mountains in Idaho. Real mountains, not just a little hill. They were big. I loved it. And you got to do what you want, but you're secluded at the same time. Yeah, that'd be funny to watch them and see how they would react. When I was still doing fire extinguishers, these we went and get certified, and this guy was saying how people think these days too. But this guy was saying that they have these, and I've seen them. They do it fire demos. It wasn't a real fire. Now you don't have to, but they simulated fire extinguisher. It's upright. You fire it upright. Otherwise, you just powder. You're moving the powder around in the wrong directions. These young kids were getting it and turning the fire extinguisher upside down to use it because they watch all these gangster shows where you turn the gun upside down to use. Yeah. So now that guy got the biggest kick out of that. These kids doing that. They're thinking that it's being cool using the fire extinguishers by dumping it wrong side up. And it happens. But yeah, the phones, just, that would be the biggest. Somebody should do a show on that. Take a bunch of phones in and tell them to dial these numbers. They would have a comprehend. Some of them wouldn't even know how to use the old phone out in well, not out in the middle of nowhere, but the old phones, you put the quarter in or dime or whatever it was at the time and call that way. They'd be so confused even at that these days. It would be funny, but people would be confused. You know, how many of you have been around evil people that really thought they weren't evil? Most do, but you always run into some that think they're just the greatest person and what they're doing is right. If you question them, you are the one in the wrong. And evil works that way, though, really. Evil will never be good for anybody. We all do evil, but most of us correct our evils. And I get tired of people thinking they're not evil. Well, I'm perfect. I tell my wife that. She laughs at me, but nobody's really perfect. I try to tell my wife I'm perfect. I didn't never do nothing wrong. I'm 100% right. I go to the coffee shop and tell the waitresses and that, and all they do is laugh at me. I don't know why they don't think I'm perfect, but I guess I'll have to live with it. You know, just think about that though. How many times have you seen evil and you really think about it? That evil person really hates himself more than anything in this world. He despises himself or her, it don't matter, male or female, that they are willing to take others down because they're evil and they know they're evil, but they are not willing to give up on evil at all. Evil will always exist, evil is there forever. I'm ashamed when I see this because I try to find good in everybody. I really do. I want the good to come out of everyone. I don't want to see evil. I don't want to see deception, but it's there. Evil will always be there. It's a matter of how we handle it. But I really am. I really, really wish people weren't evil. I want people to be happy and be cherished, be loved, and be respected. Evil don't respect anybody. Evil don't even respect their friends. Evil will stomp on their friends. And that's what a lot of people don't get either. Is some of these guys follow these evil people around and in the long run they're there as a pawn for the other people because they're not going to go down. They will give up their friends, family members, or whatever to protect their evil. And they really will. They will sacrifice everything they can think of for the purpose of they will be number one. And they will use their friends and family as a reason to throw them under the bus to move forward. I see it all over. I mean, it comes out more because you do have different podcasts out there and that, but in reality, it's always existed. It's just now people can see it more and more and more. And I do think that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Yeah, sometimes people manipulate stuff on here. They shouldn't. They're afraid of the truth, so they have to manipulate it so you can see them as the hero, the evil and the coward as a hero. And that's really what they're trying to do. They want you to believe in them, but when you believe in them and they are in the wrong, they're going to throw you under the bus. Thanks, Storm Killer. But I'm sure all of us have seen that, though. I know on here there's a couple of people that have quite a few friends, but they are very much going to throw them under the bus when the time comes. And that would be sad for them that followed a person to get thrown under the bus. I'm not sad the outcome's what it should be, but I'm sad they went down that road. And there's a big difference. Well, I guess I better get off here, go eat. I'm hungry. It's only 12:19 here in Idaho, so it's food time for me. Hope you all have a great day today and enjoy this great Monday. Always enjoy life because life's too short to be a bully, an evil person, or a coward. Go out, enjoy yourself, enjoy life. Thank you. Thanks, John. See you later.